FTW. Joker.
중학생 영어 토론 대회 4강 팀이 가려진 건데요.
Our last round. Viva. Okay, guys. Main semis. We have FTW versus Hunters, Joker versus Viva. Come down to the front foot. One representative of all 4 teams. Come on.
말 그대로 흥분의 도가니입니다. 212팀 가운데 4강에 올랐으니 이럴만 하겠죠.
여기까지 올라왔으니까 이기고 싶죠.
그런데 갑자기 조용해졌습니다. 4강전 토론 주제가 정해진 건데요. 네 팀은 이렇게 즉석에서 공지되는 즉흥 토론 주제와 사전 공지된 준비 토론 주제로 8경기를 치르고 여기까지 왔습니다. 즉흥 주제를 받아들고 준비할 수 있는 시간은 겨우 40분 정도.
어디로 가는 거야?
그 대회장.
우물쭈물할 겨를이 없습니다. 발걸음이 무척 빠르죠.
이집트에서는.
그런데 이 선수 왠지 낯이 익네요.
Ladies and gentlemen, we see an opposition who doesn't care about national security. They don't care about your life, of your family. They don't care about what your neighbors are gonna die.
Joker.
토론에서 빠지면 되게 재밌잖아요. 되게 진지해지고 상대를 정말 자근자근 치고 싶지 않아요. 알았어요.
이게 뭐야?
되게 즐거운 디베이트였던 것 같아요. 되게 진짜.
다음번엔 꼭 결승전까지 진출하세요.
지난해 영어 토론 대회에 걸출한 스타 문재현과 친구들인데 결승전까지 진출하라는 덕담 덕분일까요? 결승 문턱까지 왔습니다. 그런데 1년 만에 폭풍 성장한 세 사람 매우 진지해졌습니다. 장난긴 찾아볼 수도 없습니다. 이 선수들은 예선부터 8전 전승을 거둔 비바 삼총사인데 한 걸음 차이로 시원한 바람이 나오는 강의실을 놓쳐서 후텁지근한 복도에서 먼저 더위와의 전쟁부터 치르고 있습니다.
지금 주제가 어떤 거 혹시?
지금 국제 원조를 민주국가에게만 줘야 되는지 안 줘야 되는지.
주제 어때요? 이렇게 토론하게.
8강 주제보다 괜찮은 것 같아요.
괜찮아.
예, 할 말도 네.
여기 또 한 팀 헌터스입니다. 전원 1학년이지만 팀 이름 그대로 토론계의 사냥꾼들입니다. 이들 앞에서 영어 토론계의 고수들이 추풍 낙엽처럼 떨어져 나갔는데요. 우승을 꿈꾸는 포더윈의 운명은 어떻게 될까요? 드디어 4강전 시작됩니다. 조커 대 비바의 대결인데 우승 후보팀들답게 반론 제기가 잇따르고 불꽃이 튑니다.
Isn't that showing that international society is justifying these actions of
How is that justifying? Everyone with a common sense knows that we're trying to help these poor people. We're trying to help these countries go back to revival.
창과 방패가 아니라 창 대 창의 대결입니다. 닥치고 공격이 떠오르는 살벌한 한판이었습니다.
좋은 결과 있을 것 같아요.
네. 꼭 결승을 나갔어야 좋겠고. 좋아 죽는다.
Only one of you can go to the grand final, and this is the round that decides who gets to go.
Make sure that the consumers.
여기선 헌터스와 FTW가 대결 중인데요. 어린 티 팍팍 나는 것과는 달리 선배들을 매섭게 몰아붙입니다. 영어만 잘한다고 참가할 수 없는 대회인데 이 세 사냥꾼들 참 대단하지 않습니까? 헌터스 과연 포더윈마저 꺾고 결승에 오를 수 있을까요?
어떻게 잘하던가요?
되게 아직 1학년이라서 되게 어린데도 되게 잘하는 것 같고 좋은 것 같고 되게 나이 들고나 훨씬 더 잘할 것 같아요. 지금도 좀 잘하고.
어땠어요? 아쉬웠던 점 있어요?
생각했던 것보다 훨씬 좋은 결과가 나와서 별로 아쉬웠던 점은 없던 것 같아요.
저희가 대충 1위여서 주식이 좀 떨어져서
못해서 좀 아쉬웠던 점이 있었던 것 같아요.
딴 팀이랑 붙었을 때 뭔가 진 것 같아도 실제로는 완전 완벽하게 이겨서 그럴 때 기분 너무 좋았어요.
저녁 무렵이 돼서 심판장이 결승 진출자를 발표하는데요.
We're going to announce our results. In the round. FTW. FTW.
상대를 아낌없이 축하해주는 헌터스. 정말 멋진 모습입니다.
Joker versus Viva. Also a 5-2 decision. Joker.
비바 선수들은 다음을 기약해야겠네요.
Excited person back there.
앞으로도 계속 끊임없이 이렇게 도전할 거예요? 어때요?
당연하죠. 아쉬운 걸 이제 고등학교 가서 털어야죠.
기대는 좀 했지만 이 정도까지 기대는 안 했거든요. 근데 여기까지 왔어요.
결승전에 오른 조커와 FTW 두 팀. 기술적으로 가능하다면 부모가 자녀의 성별을 선택할 수 있어야 한다는 주제로 토론을 하는데 두 팀 선수들 지난해 다른 영어 토론 대회 4강에서 맞붙어서 그때는 조커가 이겼다고 하는군요. 조커의 연승이냐 보더윈의 서륙이냐 정말 흥미진진합니다. 토론 시작 1시간 정도 남았는데 조커 문재현 선수 자리에 앉지 못합니다. 어려서부터 호흡을 맞춰온 친구 중에 친구인 사이지만 이럴 땐 뭐 어떻게 도와줄 방법이 없습니다. 그저 각자 알아서 다듬고 정리하고 외울 수밖에요. 문재현 선수 입술을 깨뭅니다. 포도인 선수들도 옆 강의실에서 연습 중인데 서로 말도 주고받고 분위기가 조금 다르죠. 자, 이러는 동안 시간은 화살같이 지나가서 토론 시간이 다 돼갑니다. 조커팀 대회장으로 장소를 옮겼군요. 깔끔하게 차려입고 막바지 마무리 점검 중인데 문재현 선수는 여전히 자리에 앉을 생각이 없습니다.
Out of more than 200 teams on the stage are the two finalists. On the government team, the Joker, and the opposition team, FTW. Let us give them a big congratulations to them for their making to final. Let us start the debating by inviting the first speaker of the government to the podium, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to be actually standing here in this grand final, in this such a great competition. But the fact that I can actually stand here is because and due to my parents' sacrifice. I can stand here because my mom and dad actually did not eat what they wanted and gave me good foods. I can stand here because of the fact that my mom and dad actually gave up wearing good clothes. We say that parents actually know the best about their children and always are sacrificing the best for their children. And this is the exact reason why us, the Joker, on the proposition side, is proposing the motion today. Now, why should we actually respect this? Because we believe that the parents know the best interest of their children for two reasons. Firstly, these parents are the people who know and who are aware of the information, most amount of information their kids, of their traits, of their character, or so on. Secondly, we tell you that these parents are the people who actually will pay the cost of living with these children. So the parents is the best actor, not the government, which is blinded, who can make the best decisions for their children. What is the significant harms? Firstly, many times these mothers are actually forced to abort their babies if these babies are not desired. For example, you want a male, but if it's a female, then you will actually just abort it. Secondly, even if, no thank you, parents do not actually abort their children, we believe that their family and the community outside of the parents will actually more likely to ignore the babies. They will be neglecting these children and they will not actually be providing the necessary love and care that these children need to actually develop fully. We say that this is true because of the fact that community and the family will see this baby as a burden for them. We do not think that our model actually will cause a significant harm to the sex ratio of these countries. Firstly, these small communities are small simply, and we say that this community, within this community, like sex ratio going up, we say that that's not much of a problem in a larger scale in the US and Korea. Secondly, we tell you that even if there is a harm, I think it's perfectly fine to actually select a gender to actually to provide better quality of life for my kid, because society never owns me, but I own my own life and I should be responsible for my own life. So do you believe that parents or the government is the best actor to make the decision? It's the parents. That's the reason why we're proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. I'd like to call upon the first speaker, opposition leader, to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, life ethics is something that needs to be dealt with even more care than most policy decisions, because every society begins with life, and how we choose to incorporate the technological development to our basic, most core values on morality, on life, and what it means to be a human being, ladies and gentlemen, that defines and shapes the very society that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this policy by the government, this may appease the public in the most superficial way possible, but it poses some very big questions, questions related to morality. And before moving on, we'd like to look at what the proposition team has told us. Now, their first argument was that parents always sacrifice their lives for their wants and desires for the children, and therefore we should allow this policy. But we say that actually, when the parents are choosing their children's gender, they're not asking the children, ladies and gentlemen. They only choose their gender based on the parents' preferences and their desires, ladies and gentlemen. And therefore, their whole first argument does not stand, because they're not sacrificing for the children. If the parents want a certain gender, then they're choosing their gender, and they're not asking the children, ladies and gentlemen. And on to their second argument, they said the parents know what's best for the children and what's beneficial for the children. Well, then we asked them, we placed the burden on the government to prove why choosing a baby boy over a baby girl is actually harmful for the children. And moreover, they stated how the parents have the right to choose whatever that has to do with their family. But we say that parents have that right, but we say that the rights are only valid to the point when that doesn't harm a third party, ladies and gentlemen. But because this policy harms the children and also the society, we'd like to oppose this motion. And now let's move on to the arguments of our side. Yes.
It's not changing the gender, selecting the gender before it's decided in the beginning. So you're born as a son or daughter.
We recognize the point, but that selecting the gender itself does still harm the children because it enforces certain gender roles on the children. And now proceeding on to the first argument, we'd like to explain to you why this policy is unethical. Now, gender does not have any kind of value within it, but selecting a gender implies that there is, ladies and gentlemen. But gender differences are simply differences, and we shouldn't develop a prejudice over this. Now, consider that you're choosing between Africans, Anglo-Saxons, and Asians. And let's assume that you don't have any specific knowledge on the individual traits of these people, but then you simply chose Anglo-Saxons. Now, you chose that person based on their race. Now, we say that when you do this, you made a decision over which gender, which race is better and which is worse. And we have proven to you why this policy is unethical, and we've proven to you how this policy can be toxic to the society. And for these reasons, we're very proud to oppose.
Now, I'd like to open the podium to Deputy Prime Minister.
It's nice to talk about as if children has all these kinds of choices in their life. It's nice to talk about as if children can be born innately and there is no problem in that status quo. But the situation is, that is not the status quo. We see that there are some problems that we analyze from the start of the debate on why sometimes the being innately born can also be a problem in your life, and that also deters and directly tangible harm into your own life and even for the parents. And that's why we had this motion prepared in the first place. So even though you might talk about whatever ethics you want to talk about, if there is a tangible harm that actually deters the development of the child and even gives a bad situation, then we think that it is a right for the parent to choose. But before I go on to the two questions that we have to analyze in this debate about the justification and secondly the harms and benefit analysis, let's see what their policy was. Now, from the start of the debate, the leader of opposition said that they will not accept the selective gender of medical purposes. Now then, this shows that they're fearing this case of if there is a tangible harm, then the children should be given the able to right to choose their sex situation. So then we see that if the opposition also understands that if there is a tangible harm of actually having a sex, that's why you have to change the sex.
Clarification, sir?
No, thank you. In that case, then they gotta also accept that there is tangible harm by not only the medical cases, but also the status quo, where people condemn you from who you are and for what you are. So then in these cases, if this is an avoidable harm by just changing your sex, I think that this should be changed by the parent's decision. We see that by the fact itself, there are certain situations and certain regional situations where you're being condemned for who you are. And these are unnecessary harms that are being promoted, no thank you, by the opposition team. Then what we see is that if you just change the gender in the first place, then there could not have been any problem at all. And if the parent, especially in this case as we analyze, if the parent sees this foreseen harm, knows about what's going to happen to these children, then we think that the parent has an obligation and also a duty and also a right to prevent these kinds of harms from happening in the first place. Yes.
If you think that these children are going to be aborted simply for the reason that they're a girl or boy, don't you think that parent can protect these babies? What are you expecting? Do you think the villagers are all going to suddenly mob this child or something?
I'm sorry, but I think you're living in South Korea like good old nations, but the problem is in places like South Texas or conservative families, even in Korea, that is not the case. I know that you didn't live in that kind of environment, but certain people like these really suffer from this, where you're being condemned for who you are. So I think that you got to analyze the situation more carefully, and it's a red sign. And he might possibly get hit by the car, then parents' right and a duty is to know the foreseen harm and to prevent that foreseen harm from happening. As we told you from the start to the end, if there is a foreseen harm of social condemnation and it's all these medical terms that we're talking about, then we think that this is an obligation for the government and also the parent to choose in whether or not this is going to be beneficial to the child or not for the government to define a blanket policy on what is good or what is bad. So therefore, we're proud to propose. Thank you.
I'd like to open the podium to Deputy Opposition Leader.
So basically what the proposition team is suggesting is that this kind of policy that we have with regarding selecting the gender is the alternative of abortion. Now we think this is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. For first reason, this does not attack the whole root of the problem, ladies and gentlemen. If they're so concerned about abortion, attack abortion itself. We believe there's no necessity of making another policy that doesn't really attack the root problem of these parents having stereotypes against a certain gender. And secondly, they're simply justifying the actions of abortion by simply stating how these parents are actually legitimate to actually make their certain decisions with regards to the gender of these children. Now, they also talked about how gender ratio is not of a bigger problem. However, it's different from when we actually make these changes and when we actually implement such policy. We believe that once these policies are actually implemented, our previous speakers mentioned how there are going to be experts to analyze certain genders of which is better and which is not. And therefore, we believe there's a harm for the gender ratio, and there's thus leading to the gender equality in society. They also talked about how these are going to be used as medical purposes. However, we do not get why they were actually explaining this. We also believe so basically, we would like to strongly assert on how this sort of a basis of choosing your child itself is a mistaken, because your gender is not mainly the part of deciding your character. It is not who you are that the gender decides, ladies and gentlemen. It's about who yourself is, not the gender, ladies and gentlemen. And the part where the proposition team is focusing on gender, about parenting, we believe that is just absurd to say so. Now, there's an extreme difference among the same male children and extreme difference among the female children. And so that is why we believe, as the opposition team, it should not be an alternative of abortion, but rather the government should rather promote a bigger value amongst these families because they're the rational ones. The government has the responsibility to take care of these families, of how these policies would actually lead to the distortion of family relation. So that is basically why we, the opposition team, is proud to oppose. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker, Government Whip, to the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was a big contradiction from the opposition side because, first of all, they actually said that in case of medical harm, they will accept this policy, meaning that even in a situation that all the harm that they actually propose will become the same. Why? Because even in the status quo, we told you that our stance is that this is a minor case on these local communities where there are extreme conservative families, then we should allow them to actually have the parents' right to prevent that kind of harm to actually happening. Which means that if it's a minor case, then the same harm will actually come up even if you compare with this medical cases or this genetic disease which means that their cases, even in their stance, they actually have the same problem. About the gender roles, if we believe that is a status quo, that is the culture, that is the environment that these parents or children live in. And if that's the situation, whether they live in a man or woman, both, they have a gender role. No matter how we have this policy or not, there will be gender role enforced in that specific community. Then if that's a status quo, then why not reduce the harm that these children can get? Reduce how possibly that these children will be actually condemned by that community. Isn't that better for these children? That was our case, and they simply ignored our case. Now to my second clash, what is best for the children? Now, opposition side simply came up and said that we can never be sure that the harm will actually exist, and therefore we should not have this. But there was a contradiction because they themselves say that they will say yes in case of medical harm or the genetic diseases. When even those medical situations, it is also about probability. It is also about more likely to have that diseases, which means that if you feel that there's more higher possibility that these children will suffer from a disease, suffer from a harm, then parents' obligation and duty is to prevent these children from suffering from that diseases in the first place in our society, under our society, is because we know that parents will do their best for their children. We know that these parents will actually do for the best interest of their children, and that is why we allow many rights of these parents, and that's why we even go to the social trend of homeschooling or actually making your child to have a specific religion. All this is possible under the premise that parents will actually go for the best of their child. We believe that standard should be the same even in the safe space, because if the parents can prevent that kind of harm actually happening, they should protect these children. Therefore, we are actually having a very ethical way of solving this issue, and at the same time, we are promoting the best for these children. So therefore, we are very proud to propose. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to invite the opposition team's opposition whip to the podium.
So before going into my speech, we want to clarify something from the opposition side regarding the genetic sex-related disease. Now, in our LO speech, we clarified that we would allow the surgery, this process of medication, in case that the child has a genetic situation in the family where because they're a girl or because they're a boy, they may inherit certain illnesses, like in a very mild case, color blindness, but in very extreme cases, ALS, which can lead to death. We said that we will allow these parents to make the choice of choosing a boy instead of a girl or a girl instead of a boy for the sole purpose of avoiding such illnesses, because we believe it is for the prevention of unnecessary deaths for these child. But they distorted our definition of how we made this, of how we sorted this debate, how we are putting this completely out of the picture here, because this is in order to save lives, and they instead tried to use it to incorporate it to justify their case, instead to prevent those crazy murders in conservative families. So now that we've cleared up the issue about the sex-related genetic diseases, we want to go to our three clashes of this debate. So the first clash is going to focus on the main problem that they identified. Their whole case was relying on the idea that there are many conservative families, even in developed nations, that try to kill these children or abort them or commit infanticide against them for the reason that they are born as a girl or in some cases a boy. But we're going to show you, first of all, that we have three responses to this claim. Now, the first response is that this is not a prevalent problem in their place setting, which was this house is the developed nation. This is in India, this is in China, where you see these problems occurring every day. Now we want to ask them, if it's such a tiny problem that they want to address, if it's just a tiny portion of the population that they see is causing a problem, why are they suddenly giving the right to every single citizen, every single parent in our nation to choose the gender of their child? If it's such a tiny problem, the tiny percentage of the population that is causing the problem, we want them to justify that. If that's their main problem, why are they giving everyone else the right to do that as well? Now they wasted their whole first and second argument explaining that parents know best for their children. Now we want them to show them why making your child a boy instead of a girl is in the child's best interest. If in the case of the minor crimes before, we could already explain to you why the method is wrong and why it can actually backfire by solidifying gender prejudices. But also, so we want them to prove them that if this isn't the case, why why is choosing a boy over a girl in the child's best interest? They never specified that. They just said that parents care about their children a lot. We want them to clarify that. They said that their policy is only in regards to targeting the minority of extreme conservative families. We think that's not the case because you're giving everyone the choice here. And when everyone is given the choice, everyone starts thinking about it. Everyone starts thinking, is it better for me to have a boy or is it better for me to have a girl? Now we told you that once you give people a choice, they start analyzing. They're going to be experts trying to compare the average money it takes to raise a boy and a girl, the average academic performance of a boy and a girl, the average like social abilities of a boy and a girl, how easier it is to raise a boy or a girl. We think this sort of identification over whether it's easier or better to raise a boy or a girl is extremely unhealthy because it goes against basic family values that you need to love your child no matter what. And also they said the gender ratio is not a serious problem. It is, because once you give everyone the choice, it's going to start to become a social implication. It's going to start the social message, a social trend regarding who to choose. Because as they said themselves in their first speech, people are selfish. And when they're given the choice, they are going to consider over it. They are going to start to make it. So this isn't going to be only limited to the extreme examples that they gave. And it's going to have a spillover effect to the entire society. And for these reasons, we're proud to oppose.
I'd like to call upon the opposition reply speaker.
Now, gender selection is parents shaping and designing their children to their desires, ladies and gentlemen. That itself is unethical, and we've told you why this policy also has lethal consequences. Now, this debate boils down to two questions. The first question is whether parents have this right to choose their children's gender. Now, on the government side, they have told us that parents make sacrifice for their children, and that parents actually care about their children, and therefore the parents have the right to choose the gender of their children. However, we've told them, ladies and gentlemen, that that's not true, because that's even before the baby is born. The baby doesn't get to have any say in that. We have proven to you throughout our case how when these parents are given a choice to choose their children's gender, they will not choose based on whim. They will take it very carefully. They're going to weigh the costs and benefits of each gender, ladies and gentlemen. And if there is a cost-benefit analysis on genders, ladies and gentlemen, we think there's a very dangerous possibility for a social trend forming. For example, social trend for having more baby boys. We think that because these consequences can be caused, it is actually very lethal to the society. So on the opposition side, we have proven to you how this policy is very unethical for the babies, and we've also proven to you how this policy is very toxic to the society and to the family. We say that because we have proven to you all these things, the motion fails and they've built their policy on sand. Thank you.
I'd like to invite proposition reply speaker to the podium.
Okay, I think this debate is really, really unfair. We told you the status quo is really harmful for specific regions, and the first two speakers never respond to this. They only talked about ethics, and they only talk about the innate characteristic, yada, yada, yada. But the problem is, the opposition whip came up and started to talk about the status quo's problem at the opposition whip. So obviously, the only speaker who can respond to this is me, and this is really unfair. Even in that case, even we do consider that, we think that this minor problem is also a severe problem, because we cannot sacrifice these children just to think about solving this problem. Because we think that if you wanted to solve the problem of this perception, you could have done it in a lot of ways. But why do you have to sacrifice these children to be condemned, to be always sacrificed in front of the society? We don't think that this was necessary in the first place, but you gotta avoid the necessary harms. But even in that case, even if we do consider that, we think that there are two most important questions that had to be answered in this debate, but opposition clearly failed to do so. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they talked about really exotic cases of sex crimes, and about how people would analyze and choose certain sex. But that is not gonna happen, because we told you from the start to the end, first it's about the liberal democracies, so this is not about the choices, but it's more like a preference. And secondly, even in that case, ladies and gentlemen, we think that parents are already willing to save and use a lot of money, even if they don't. It's not about the money, ladies and gentlemen, when parents look after you. That's the reason why there will not be an analysis there, because as our Prime Minister from the start analyzed and told you that parents really do not care about the money, but the love itself to take care of you, and the analysis will not be a priority in deciding whether or not the parent prefers a child of a boy or a son. Now, secondly, they talked about how this is going to be making a sex crimes. But that is not the case, clearly. Because firstly, as I told you, it's a liberal democracy. And secondly, in this regional situation, then if you really want to talk about sex crimes, then what are you making the situation worse? You're making the situation worse by not giving a choice from the parents from the start place and not giving a choice from people to decide a better life. So these people will be more prone to this condemnation. On the other hand, we think that these kinds of situations will not happen because sex crime, we think that it's actually going to be stimulated to solve this because they cannot just leave the situation as a government would clearly analyze. So therefore, if you really want a good society, then you should not sacrifice individuals for what you want to achieve, but try to take them also with a good choice and giving them a good parental right. Thank you.
모든 토론이 끝났습니다. 어떤 결과가 나올까요?
Okay, the grand champions is on 7-2 split decision. Congratulations go to FTW.
포도인 선수들이 단상에 오릅니다. 212팀이 참가한 국내 최대 규모 최고 권위의 대회에서 숱한 강자들을 꺾고 우승했으니 얼마나 기쁘겠습니까? 이들에겐 상금과 함께 해외 연수 기회가 주어집니다. 자, 그럼 끝으로 멋진 승부를 펼친 선수들 얘기를 들어볼까요?
이 디베이트라는 것 자체가 되게 생각도 많이 해야 되고 여러 번 이제 검토도 해야 되는 거라서 시간이 많이 이제 투자를 해야 되는데 그래서 이제 지난 한 달 동안 이제 다른 것을 조금 덜 하더라도 구상해내고 무엇을 말할 것인지 그리고 어떻게 말할 것인지 이런 걸 다 구상해내므로써 되게 재밌는 한 달을 보냈고 또 어떻게 생각하면 또 힘든 한 달을 보냈던 것 같아요.
사실 원래 팀 이름이 FTW였는데 그게 For the Win이라는 뜻이거든요. 그래서 이기는 것을 위해서 그런 건데
모든 스피커가 중요하긴 하지만 제 두 번째 역할이 제일 중요했는데 이 디베이트에서는 그냥 제가 저 때문에 진 것 같아요.
Content is where they differed. The opposition team was very smoothly analytical. Their analysis was strong and very consistently on point. The government team seemed to largely rely on their initial setup and didn't analyze with the same level of depth as the opposition, especially when refusing to engage directly with what the opposition had to say.
일단 평소에 뉴스 시청 많이 하고 이제 신문도 많이 읽고 그러면은
상대 측의 두 번째 선수 같은 경우는 굉장히 손도 잘 활용을 하고 그리고 원고도 거의 안 보면서 대중을 다 응시를 하면서 이렇게 왔다 갔다 하는 걸 봤는데 그런 것도 굉장히 스킬이 좋았던 것 같습니다.
한 주제에 대해서도 양쪽에서 이거에 찬성도 해봐야 되고 이거에 반대도 해봐야 되기 때문에 많이 뭔가를 받아들일 때 그냥 막 전혀 비판 없이 수용하는 게 아니라 어떤 게 옳고 어떤 게 그른지 이렇게 구별할 수 있는 능력을 길러줄 수 있는 것 같아요.